Hi there guys, I'm Nick from the Coherent Labs team, and today I'm going to show you around our new plugin for the Ogre3D graphics engine. We're hosting the plugin on GitHub. You can see the URL right here, it's in our repository. And in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a heads-up display with the Coherent UI plugin. So let's start. I've already prepared the resources that I'm going to be using. The plugin that I showed you, the Coherent UI SDK for C++, and the Ogre SDK. I'm using the 1.9 SDK, and you can download it from the Ogre website. I'm also going to be modifying the tutorial framework that you can find on the Ogre website, and we're gonna get to that in just a second. So let's start. I've already checked out the GitHub repository right here, and currently it supports Windows only, so we've got a solution provided. So let's open up the solution, and we're going to see two projects right here, the Coherent UI plugin and the demo. We're not going to be using the demo, we're going to be modifying the tutorial application. So let's just set up the property sheets initially. We've got some property sheets that we need to set up, some directories, and these are the Ogre dependencies property sheet, which you go to property manager, Ogre dependencies, and then user macros, and you need to set up the Ogre home variable to the location that you installed the Ogre SDK, which in my case is this directory here. So I'm just going to copy paste that, set OK, and once more here in the Ogre dependencies for the demo, again user macros, Ogre home, and copy paste that. We also need to set up the Coherent UI property sheet, which points to the SDK folder for the Coherent UI, which is right here in my case. Okay, and I'm just going to build the plugin right now. It's already built, okay, everything's fine, and then we can go to the Ogre wiki and check out the setting up an application in Visual Studio, and midway in the web page you'll see a link for the tutorial framework. You can download that, and I've already downloaded it. It's right here, and I'm just going to use the tutorial application implementation files. Right here. I'm going to extract those here. Visual Studio notified us that the file was updated, and as you can see we have an empty scene right here, and I also set up a precompiled header for this project, so I need to include SDFXH, and I'm gonna build that. If everything goes fine, the compilation will be okay. But we're not going to see anything interesting right here, except a black screen. I think there was a screenshot right here, and there isn't. Maybe here. Well, anyway, we don't have a scene, so we'll go to the basic tutorial 1 in the Ogre3D website and just copy paste the scene definition. And after that, what we expect to see is this thing here, the overhead and some statistics. So, okay, here, the project succeeded compilation. We're copy pasting the scene. Again, build that. Let's fine. We're waiting for renderer, and there it is. So everything's okay for now. Let's start setting up Coherent UI. So what we're gonna do is add some variables. So first, we need an Ogre Coherent UI view, which I'm gonna call mView, and I'll need a forward declaration for that class, which I'm gonna place right here, namespace Ogre class Coherent UI view. And here I'm going to initialize that with null, and I'm going to include a couple of headers that are needed for Coherent UI to work with this plugin. So I'm gonna include Coherent UI Manager, and then I'm gonna include Coherent UI View. Let's start setting up the view. We have an API here that returns view, that creates a view, and we can do that using the manager, which we can obtain using Ogre, Coherent UI Manager, get singleton, create view. So the first parameter is the initial URL. I'm going to use the special CoUI protocol, which is used for local resources. I'm going to get to that in just a second. I'm just going to write that. So CoUI, UI resources, hot resource, yes, hot HTML. So this thing right here checks the working directory of the executable, and this is a folder, and this is a folder, and this is an ordinary HTML file. I'm going to show it to you right now. So the output directory and the working directory of the executable that we're going to be building is the Ogre SDK folder, bin, debug, because we're doing a debug build right now. Yeah, debug. So here is the UI resources folder, HUD.html, and I'm gonna open it in Chrome so you can just see what we can expect for the heads of display. This is the texture that we want placed as an overlay. So this is just an ordinary HTML. As you can see, you can preview it in any browser you like. So this is the first parameter. The next parameter is the width, and then there's the height. So since we want to make overlay, we want that to be the size of the viewport. So I'm gonna say over viewport, and we need to get the viewport of the window, which you can do using a window, which is provided by the base application. Get viewport, and I'm going to get the 0 viewport because I don't have any more viewports. So right here I'm going to say VP get actual width, oops, and VP get actual height. Then the next parameter is transparency. So do we want the view to be transparent? Well, since it's a heads-up display, yeah, we want that, so true. And the last parameter is an instance of a Coherent UI view listener, as you can see, which is a class that is going to be called when certain events happen, such as view is loaded, a new URL is loaded, etc., etc. But we're not going to be using that right now. So I'm just going to say null here. And now let's check if the view is created successfully. And I'm gonna implement this in a second. Just see here, if the view wasn't created successfully, I'm gonna say Ogre log manager get instance, get singleton, log message, unable to create Coherent UI view. Now you may want to make some more verbose warning or an error if this happens, but for the demo purposes this is fine. And in the destructor I'm going to say Ogre if and view Ogre Coherent UI manager get singleton destroy view and view, and I'm gonna null the view. So, next thing we want to do is draw a texture on the screen. To do that, you can check out Intermediate Tutorial 7, which section implementing a mini screen, which does just that. It just draws a 2D texture as an overlay. And you can also set up the corners of the mini screen, as you can see. The whole screen spans from -1 to 1 in both directions. So 0.5 minus 0.5 is this point here, and this rectangle is this white rectangle right here. But since we want the whole is going to be covered, we're going to be using -1 and 1 for these parameters. So I'm just going to copy paste these lines here from the intermediate tutorial on Ogre's website, and I'm going to set up a rectangle that covers the whole screen by using 1 and -1 and 1. We're also setting up a bounding box so the mini screen is not called, and we're adding it to the scene. And I'm also going to make this a member variable. And I'm just going to use a unique pointer. And mini screen. And right here I'll need to do a reset instead of assignment, and this we get. So this mini screen of course needs some material, because otherwise it's going to be showing just a blank texture. And the Coherent UI plugin provides an API that returns the texture and the material for the view, for a view. So we're going to say mini screen set material after the view was created successfully, and say view get texture material, which returns a material pointer, but this method requires a name, so we're just going to say get name. And this is all that needs to be done to set up the view. Now we also need to do some a little bit more work to set up Coherent UI. It needs to be updated regularly, so we're going to override some functions. So say virtual void frame started, which accepts a const over frame event. And we also need virtual void frame rendering queued, which again accepts an over frame event. And I'm gonna implement those. Oops, no, these are books. So go to the CPV file, and I'm gonna place them right here. You can place them anywhere you like. Yeah, so the first thing I want to do is preserve the current implementation. So I'm going to say if base application frame started with event, then return false, otherwise return true. And I'm going to copy this to the frame rendering queued section and do the same thing. So right here in the frame started event, we want to do the fetch surfaces call. So to update the Coherent UI plugin, you need to call two methods: the update method and the fetch surfaces method. The update method does some CPU work, updates the RPC calls and some other stuff, and the fetch surfaces call downloads a texture from the GPU. So it's really good if the call is done when there are no commands waiting for the GPU, and the frame started is just the place for that. So I'm going to say over Coherent UI manager get singleton fetch surfaces. And when the buffers are sent to the GPU, we can do some CPU work, which again is over Coherent UI manager get singleton update. So with all this in place, we should see Coherent UI working. Let's build that and start demo. If everything's fine, we should see, yeah, there it is. As you can see, the interface is right there. So There's one more thing I want to show you, and it's how to bind methods, or particularly how to call JavaScript functions from C++. To do that, we need to do two things. First, we need to register the method that we're going to call in the JavaScript, and then, of course, we need to call it in C++. To do that, let's just first edit the JavaScript. So in this HTML, we've already got some JavaScripts working, and in this player.js file, we have this engine on player health change set health. This call comes from Coherent UI. The engine object comes when you import the Coherent.js script, which is right here, and we're distributing that. So you can do engine on, then the name of the event, and the function that's going to be executed. So in this case, when we fire the onPlayerHealthChange event from C++, the setHealth function is going to be executed, which will change this meter here and the count. So this is already done, so the only thing we need to do is fire the event. And I'm gonna do that when I press some keys. So I'm gonna overwrite another function, which is going to be key pressed, which accepts a const OIS key event. I'm going to implement that below these two. And again, I want to preserve the old behavior, so I'm going to copy paste this, key pressed right here, and instead of this, I'm going to say if we have a view, if and view, then if the event key code equals to, say, age for health, we're going to do mView trigger event, the name of the event, which is onPlayerHealthChanged. I'm going to paste that, and we need some value that is going to be changed. So since we don't have any game logic, we don't have a player or anything else, I'm just going to do get a random number and make that from 0 to 100. So that's pretty much it. The build is fine. Just move this a little bit up, and if I press H, as you can see, the health is changing to some random values. So that's all for today. I hope you found the tutorial interesting and helpful. Of course, stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching.